Hey everyone. This is Six Path Weeb, and welcome back to the channel where imagination meets epic storytelling. Today, we dive deeper into a darker twist of a legendary tale, where power, fate, and choices collide in ways you've never seen before. If you've been following this journey, you already know. This isn't your typical story. Our fanfic topic. What if Hashirama was reborn as Naruko and chose darkness? Part 3. The story so far has taken some intense turns, and in this part, things are about to get even more unpredictable. Loyalties will be tested, hidden emotions will surface, and the line between hero and villain will blur further than ever. Disclaimer. The content on this channel is for entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. All rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, without wasting any more time, let's begin. It was a bright and sunny day as 5 people walked down a quiet road. The group consisted of the 4 members of Team 7 and their client. They moved in a neat diamond formation, with Naruko leading the way, Sasuke to her left, Sakura to her right, Kakashi following behind, and Tazuna safely in the center. It had been a full day since they left their village to begin their very first C-rank mission. Normally, the journey to Wave Country would take less time, but since Tazuna was not used to long travel, they moved at a gentle pace. The road was peaceful, filled with birdsong and the rustling of leaves. As they walked, Naruko suddenly stumbled over a small rock. She quickly caught herself, brushing off her clothes with a sheepish grin. Sakura giggled softly. Tazuna-san, you're from Wave Country, right? Sakura asked politely. What about it? He replied with a grumble. Sakura turned to Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, do they have ninja in Wave Country? Not in the same way as here, Kakashi answered calmly. Different places have different customs, but you don't need to worry. This mission shouldn't involve any ninja trouble. Sakura visibly relaxed, smiling with relief. Naruko, however, glanced thoughtfully at the road ahead. Her bright eyes seemed to notice everything, the wind, the trees, even the smallest details others might miss. As they passed a small puddle on the road, Naruko slowed slightly. Something about it felt unusual. She didn't say anything out loud, but she gave a subtle signal to her teammates, just as Kakashi had taught them. A moment later, 2 figures suddenly leapt out from hiding. Everything happened quickly, but instead of panic, the team responded just as they had practiced. Naruko moved with surprising calm. With a clever technique, she created a harmless illusion of a swirling fireball in the sky. It looked big and bright, but it wasn't meant to hurt anyone, only to confuse and distract. Sasuke acted just as swiftly, tossing a kunai with perfect aim to pin a chain safely out of the way. Sakura guided Tazuna behind a tree, keeping him protected and out of sight. Before the situation could grow tense, Kakashi stepped in smoothly and gently restrained the 2 attackers without causing them harm. Well done, everyone, Kakashi said, smiling with his single visible eye. Naruko, that illusion was very creative. Sasuke, excellent timing. Sakura, great job protecting our client. Naruko beamed proudly. Did you see that, Kakashi-sensei? I've been practicing. I can tell, he replied warmly. The 2 strangers, now unable to move, looked surprised rather than hurt. Kakashi crouched beside them. We noticed you earlier, he explained calmly. But we wanted to understand what was going on. He then turned to Tazuna, his expression becoming thoughtful. These 2 seem more skilled than ordinary troublemakers. Tazuna-san, is there something you haven't told us? Tazuna sighed, lowering his head. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hide the truth. My home is struggling, and I couldn't afford a higher ranked mission. I'm building a bridge that could help everyone in Wave Country live better lives. But there are people who don't want that to happen. Sakura and Sasuke exchanged concerned looks. Naruko listened closely, her expression softening. Soon, her eyes filled with tears, not of sadness alone, but of deep empathy. That's really important, she said, wiping her eyes. You're trying to help everyone. Before Kakashi could respond, Naruko stepped forward with determination. Don't worry, Tazuna-san, she said, placing her hands on her hips. We're going to help you finish that bridge. We'll do our best, and we'll make sure everything turns out okay. Believe it. Sasuke gave a small nod, and Sakura smiled in agreement. Kakashi let out a quiet sigh, though there was a hint of pride in his voice. It seems my team has made their decision. Tazuna looked at them with gratitude. Thank you. Truly. With renewed purpose, Team 7 continued their journey. The road ahead was still long, but now it felt brighter, filled with hope, teamwork, and the promise of helping others. And at the front of it all walked Naruko, her golden hair shining in the sunlight, leading her team forward with courage and a kind heart. Several hours later, Team 7 and Tazuna were nearing the end of their long journey. The air felt lighter, and the sound of water gently lapping against the shore made everything seem calm. Naruko walked at the front, her bright eyes scanning the surroundings with quiet focus. Suddenly, she sensed something unusual to the left. Without hesitation, she tossed a kunai toward the bushes. Kakashi, who had sensed it too, stepped forward to check. A small white rabbit hopped out, blinking innocently. Sakura gasped. "Naruko. That was the cutest rabbit ever," she said, placing her hands on her hips. Naruko blinked, then lowered her head. "I didn't mean to scare it," she murmured softly, feeling a little embarrassed. While Sakura continued to fuss, Kakashi's gaze sharpened. "That rabbit. It doesn't belong here," he said quietly. "Stay alert." Before anyone could ask what he meant, Kakashi suddenly called out, "Get down." Naruko reacted instantly. She gently pulled Sakura down beside her, while Sasuke guided Tazuna to safety. A moment later, something large swept through the air above them, a massive sword spinning like a whirlwind, before lodging itself into a tree with a heavy thud. The forest fell silent. A tall figure appeared, standing calmly atop the sword's handle. His presence felt heavy, like a storm cloud drifting in. Kakashi looked up, his expression steady. "So, you've come," he said. The man spoke in a calm, almost casual voice. "I was hoping to meet you. Kakashi Hatake." Naruko tightened her grip on her kunai but stayed close to her teammates, just as Kakashi had taught them. "Protect Tazuna," Kakashi said, raising a hand slightly. "Stay together." The team quickly formed a circle around the bridge builder, with Naruko at the front. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of Kakashi's lessons. No matter what happened, they would not leave each other behind. Kakashi lifted his headband slightly, revealing his special eye. Naruko watched closely, not surprised, but impressed. She had always believed Kakashi had more skills than he showed. A soft mist began to roll in, spreading across the water and drifting through the trees until everything looked hazy and dreamlike. Naruko swallowed but steadied herself. "Stay calm," she whispered to Sakura and Tazuna. "We'll be okay." The mist grew thicker, and for a moment, it felt like the world had gone quiet. Then Kakashi's voice reached them, calm and reassuring. "Don't worry. I'm right here." Hearing that, Naruko felt her confidence return. She glanced at Sasuke, who gave a small nod. They understood each other without words. "We won't run," Naruko said softly but firmly. "We protect our friends. That's what a team does." With careful coordination, Naruko and Sasuke began working together, using clever distractions and quick thinking rather than rushing in. Naruko used her transformation technique in a playful yet strategic way, turning into a spinning tool to confuse their opponent and create an opening. Her plan worked, not because it was forceful, but because it was creative. At just the right moment, Kakashi broke free and returned to their side, standing tall and calm. Naruko smiled with relief. "We did it together," she said. Kakashi looked at his team, pride hidden behind his usual relaxed expression. "Good teamwork," he said. The mist slowly faded, and the forest seemed peaceful once again. As they continued toward Tazuna's home, Naruko walked with a lighter step. She had learned something important that day, not about strength, but about trust, teamwork, and believing in herself. And as the sun peeked through the trees, she couldn't help but smile, knowing their adventure was only just beginning. "Great teamwork, Naruko and Sasuke. That was an ingenious plan, and I couldn't be prouder," said Kakashi, his voice calm and warm even as he kept a careful eye on Zabuza. Zabuza gave a short huff, trying to sound unimpressed. "I just lost focus for a moment. Nothing more." Kakashi shook his head gently. "It wasn't just that. You were outmatched by clever thinking and cooperation." Naruko smiled brightly at that, standing a little taller. She felt proud, not because she had proven someone wrong, but because she had worked together with her friends. Zabuza and Kakashi stepped apart, watching each other closely. Their movements were quick and precise, almost like a dance, as they mirrored one another's actions. For a moment, it seemed as if they understood each other perfectly. Then, in a surprising turn, Kakashi's technique created a great rushing wave that swept Zabuza back, not to harm him, but to end the standoff. Zabuza found himself pinned gently but firmly in place, unable to move. He looked puzzled. How did you manage that? Kakashi smiled kindly. Sometimes, understanding someone isn't about seeing the future. It's about paying close attention. Before anything else could be said, a masked figure appeared in a swirl of mist. The newcomer spoke calmly. Thank you for stopping him. I will take him somewhere safe. With that, the figure carefully carried Zabuza away, leaving the group in peaceful silence. Kakashi relaxed, covering his eye again. Well then, he said lightly, as if nothing unusual had happened, Tazuna, we're almost at your house, right? Tazuna nodded. Great, Kakashi added. Naruko, could you help me for a bit? Naruko blinked in surprise, just in time to see Kakashi wobble and gently slump forward. Sakura hurried over, checking on him with concern. He's just tired, Sakura said reassuringly. He used a lot of energy, but he'll be okay after some rest. Naruko nodded and carefully helped Kakashi onto her back, supporting him with determination. Don't worry, sensei. I've got you. Together, the group continued down the path, the air now calm and quiet. As they walked, Naruko glanced back thoughtfully. I don't think Zabuza is truly gone, she said softly. Sasuke looked at her, curious. Why do you think that? Naruko smiled a little. I just have a feeling. And I think there's more to his story than we saw today. Kakashi, though resting, gave a small, knowing smile. And with that, they continued their journey, stronger as a team, and ready for whatever lay ahead. Arriving at Tazuna's house that night, Team 7's exhaustion was easy to see. The small home was shared by Tazuna, his kind daughter Tsunami, and his young grandson Inari. Though modest, the house felt warm and welcoming, and everyone settled in gratefully after a long day of travel and challenges. The next morning, Kakashi stayed behind to rest and recover his energy. When he woke, he confirmed Naruko's concern that their opponent was still alive. However, he reassured her that it would take at least a week for him to recover. With that in mind, the rest of Team 7 accompanied Tazuna to the bridge to continue their mission of protection. The day passed quietly, and by evening, they returned to the house for dinner. As they sat together, sharing a simple meal, Inari suddenly spoke. You're all going to die, you know, he said plainly. The room fell silent, everyone surprised by his words. Naruko was the first to respond, her voice steady. No, we're not. I'm going to become Hokage someday, and I won't let anything stop me. And neither will my team. Gato will get you, Inari cried, tears filling his eyes. He'll hurt you all, just like Keiza. Naruko's expression softened for a moment, but then it grew serious. We're here to protect your grandfather, she said. You can count on us. But Inari shook his head. You don't understand. You've probably always had an easy life. You don't know what it's like to lose someone. Naruko went quiet. Her usual cheerful energy faded, and for a moment, she looked far older than her years. You're wrong, she said gently but firmly. Everyone has struggles, even if you can't see them. Some people lose everything and still find a way to stand up again. They keep moving forward, even when it's hard. She paused, her gaze thoughtful. I know someone who lost their whole family when they were very young, she continued. And another person who grew up feeling completely alone, even when surrounded by others. But they didn't give up. They kept trying, hoping things would get better. Naruko set her utensils down and stood up. Sometimes it hurts, she added softly. But staying strong and kind is what helps us grow. With that, she gave a small nod toward Kakashi. I'm going outside to train for a bit, she said. In a small swirl of motion, she was gone. The room remained quiet after she left. Sakura looked thoughtful, glancing toward Kakashi. Sensei, she said carefully, was she talking about someone we know? Kakashi gave a small smile, his eyes calm. She was, he replied. And she was also talking about herself. Sakura blinked in surprise. Naruko? But she's always so happy. Kakashi nodded. That's part of her strength. She chooses to be hopeful, even when things are difficult. It's not always easy, but she keeps trying. Across the table, Sasuke sat silently, reflecting on Naruko's words. For the first time, he began to see her in a different light, not just as the loud and cheerful teammate, but as someone carrying quiet determination and resilience. Outside, under the soft glow of the evening sky, Naruko trained with steady focus. Each movement was filled with purpose, her spirit unshaken. No matter what challenges lay ahead, she would face them with courage, and help others find their strength along the way. Naruko had trained all night, and now she was completely worn out. She was sprawled comfortably, her blonde hair slightly messy, and soft snores escaped her as she dreamed peacefully. Not far away, a gentle girl in a flowing pink dress stepped quietly into the clearing. She had long black hair and warm brown eyes that sparkled with kindness. When she noticed Naruko sleeping, she smiled softly and approached, careful not to startle her. "Excuse me," the girl said gently, reaching out to wake her. Naruko stirred, her eyes opening suddenly. For a brief moment, her training instincts kicked in, and she quickly sat up. But just as quickly, she paused, realizing there was no danger. "Oh. I'm so sorry," Naruko said, rubbing the back of her head with a sheepish smile. "I didn't mean to scare you. I guess I'm still a little on edge after training all night." The girl blinked in surprise for a moment, then smiled warmly. "It's all right. You must work very hard." Naruko stood up and offered her hand. "I'm Naruko. Nice to meet you." The girl took her hand and stood gracefully. "My name is Haku. It's nice to meet you too, Naruko." Naruko looked around curiously. "What are you doing out here all by yourself? This forest can be a little tricky to navigate." Haku nodded gently. "I'm gathering herbs for someone important to me. They're not feeling well, and I want to help them get better." Naruko's eyes lit up. "That's really kind of you. Want some help? I'm pretty good at finding things." Haku smiled, clearly touched. "I would like that very much." Together, they walked through the clearing, with Haku pointing out different plants. Naruko carefully picked each one and placed them into Haku's basket, making sure not to damage them. After a while, Haku glanced at Naruko thoughtfully. "Are you a ninja?" Naruko grinned. "What gave it away?" "You carry yourself with confidence," Haku replied. "Like someone who protects others." Naruko's smile softened. "I do have people I care about. My friends and my village mean a lot to me. I want to become strong so I can always help them." Haku nodded, her expression gentle. "That's a beautiful reason to grow stronger." For a moment, the two stood quietly, the forest peaceful around them. "Thank you for helping me," Haku said finally. "I should return now." Naruko waved cheerfully. "Anytime. I hope your friend feels better soon." Haku turned to leave, then paused and looked back with a small, thoughtful smile. "I hope we meet again, Naruko." "I'd like that too," Naruko replied brightly. As Haku disappeared into the trees, Naruko stretched and looked up at the sky. "What a nice morning," she said to herself, smiling. And with that, she headed back, feeling happy she had made a new friend and helped someone in need. 6 days later, the quiet village still felt peaceful, as if it were holding its breath before something important. Naruko had spent the past week training, helping, and thinking carefully about what might happen next. She had a feeling that trouble could come not at the bridge, but at Tazuna's home. That morning, Naruko stayed behind while her teammates went ahead. She trusted her instincts, and when a sudden scream echoed through the air, she sprang into action. In a blur of motion, Naruko leapt onto a rooftop. From there, she saw Tsunami tied up and Inari being held by two rough-looking men. They looked confident, but Naruko stayed calm. She knew she had to act quickly and carefully. She formed a hand seal and whispered softly, "Temple of Nirvana technique." White feathers drifted gently through the air like snow. The two men blinked in confusion, their laughter fading into yawns. Within moments, they had fallen fast asleep. Tsunami and Inari stared in surprise as Naruko landed lightly beside them. "I told you I've got this," she said with a bright smile. "But I need to go help my friends now." She created a few sturdy rock clones to stay behind and protect them. Turning to Inari, she spoke gently but firmly. "You're stronger than you think. Stay brave and help your mom, okay?" Before they could respond, Naruko vanished in a swift motion, leaving only a fading blur behind. Dash. At the bridge, the air had grown tense. Kakashi faced Zabuza, while Sakura stood protectively near Tazuna. Sasuke had already engaged the mysterious masked opponent. The masked girl moved with incredible speed, surrounding Sasuke with shimmering ice mirrors. From every direction, tiny senbone needles flew toward him. Sasuke dodged as best he could, but a few still struck him. Determined, he used a powerful fire technique, hoping to melt the mirrors, but they barely changed. Just as things grew more dangerous, a familiar voice cut through the chaos. "You okay, Sasuke?" Naruko appeared beside him, her presence bringing a sudden sense of relief. Together, they worked in perfect rhythm. Naruko's wind technique combined with Sasuke's fire, creating a brilliant burst that cracked the icy dome. The mirrors shimmered and fractured, no longer unbreakable. The masked girl paused, clearly surprised. Naruko stepped forward, her expression steady but kind. "It doesn't have to go this way," she said. With a swift movement, Naruko broke through the remaining mirrors and gently but firmly disarmed the girl, bringing the fight to an end. The mask fell away, revealing a soft, gentle face. Naruko knelt beside her. "Why are you doing this?" she asked quietly. The girl, Haku, looked up with sad eyes. She explained how she had once been alone, until Zabuza gave her a purpose. She wanted to help him protect their homeland, even if it meant making difficult choices. Naruko listened carefully. Instead of anger, her heart filled with understanding. "I won't hurt you," Naruko said, offering her hand. "You're not just a tool. You're a person, and you still have a chance to choose a better path." Haku hesitated, then slowly reached out and took Naruko's hand. A small, hopeful smile appeared on her face. "Come on," Naruko said warmly. "Let's go help your friend. No one else needs to get hurt today." They hurried off together toward the others. Behind them, Sasuke stood quietly, watching everything unfold. He shook his head slightly. "She really is something else," he thought. But instead of frustration, a small smile appeared on his face. He knew one thing for certain: he would keep growing stronger too, right alongside her. A soft breeze drifted across the nearly finished bridge, carrying the scent of the sea. In the middle of the wooden plank stood Kakashi Hatake, calmly observing the situation before him. Nearby, Zabuza Momochi found himself in a rather awkward position, gently held in place, not by force, but by Kakashi's clever use of his loyal ninja dogs, who simply kept him from moving too much. Just as Kakashi began to speak, a bright yellow flash appeared between them. "Yo, sensei!" came a cheerful voice. It was Naruko Uzumaki, her golden hair shining as she landed lightly on the bridge. A moment later, Haku appeared beside her, calm and composed. "Hello, Naruko," Kakashi said with a curious smile. "It seems you've sorted things out. Would you like to explain?" Naruko nodded, placing her hands behind her head in her usual relaxed way. "I came to help, but things turned out differently. Haku told me everything. Zabuza isn't a bad person, he wants to make things better where he comes from." Kakashi looked thoughtful. Even Zabuza seemed a little surprised at how openly Naruko spoke. "So what do you suggest we do?" Kakashi asked. Naruko looked around at everyone and smiled warmly. "I think we should let them go. No one here needs to prove anything. We can just choose kindness." Just then, a group of townspeople approached the bridge, led by a short man named Gato. He spoke loudly, but his words were filled more with bluster than real confidence. Before anything could turn tense, Naruko stepped forward. "Hey," she said brightly, "why don't we solve this without arguing? This bridge is for everyone, right? Let's work together instead of against each other." Her voice was so sincere that it made everyone pause. Even Gato, who had come expecting trouble, found himself unsure of what to say. Haku gently placed a hand on Zabuza's shoulder. Kakashi gave a small nod. Even Sasuke Uchiha, standing quietly nearby, seemed to relax. And just like that, the moment passed, not with conflict, but with understanding. Over the next 2 days, something wonderful happened. Instead of clashing, everyone worked together to finish the bridge. Zabuza offered advice, Haku helped organize the workers, and Naruko kept everyone's spirits high with her endless energy. At one point, Naruko tried lifting Zabuza's large sword, the Kubikirabocho. She giggled as she managed to raise it just a little, using a tiny boost of strength from Kurama. "It's heavier than it looks," she laughed. Zabuza smirked. "Maybe one day, kid." When the bridge was finally complete, the villagers gathered to celebrate. Kazuna, the bridge builder, stood proudly before everyone. "This bridge," he announced, "will be called the Great Naruko Bridge." Naruko blinked in surprise. "Wait, really?" Everyone cheered. Zabuza crossed his arms and gave a small nod. "You didn't take the easy path," he said. "You chose the right one." Haku stepped forward and gave Naruko a gentle hug. "Thank you," she said softly. "You gave us a chance to do better." Naruko smiled brightly. "That's what friends do." As Zabuza and Haku prepared to leave on a new journey, Kakashi waved. "Until next time." Naruko watched them go, then turned. Only to realize her team had already started walking away. "Hey! Wait for me!" she called, laughing as she ran after them. "You guys never wait." The sun dipped low over the ocean, casting golden light across the bridge, a bridge built not just with wood and nails, but with trust, second chances, and kindness. Dear YouTube family, that's all for now. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thank you for your support. Regards. Six Path Weeb.